אתה תביא טוב, תן לי לשיר אותו לעולם, תן לי ליצור ממנו צורות כמו אור בים.
A few months ago, I went to the bank and I noticed that there was a new clerk at the bank and she appeared to be in a really, really foul mood. Every person who came up to her, she yelled at them for one reason or another. And I was just thinking, you know, she's really like irritability personified. That was what she was. So there were a bunch of clerks available, but unfortunately when my number came up, I had to go to her. And being irritability personified, she wasn't very happy with me, and she was even less happy with me when I made a mistake filling out the date on one of the forms I had to fill out. So she started yelling at me in front of everyone in the bank. And even when I finished and I was headed towards the door of the bank to leave, she was yelling at me over the whole line of people, and it was overall quite a traumatic event. And afterwards I even complained to the head of the bank, and for several months after that I avoided that bank. I tried to go to other branches of the bank so I wouldn't have to see that woman, I wouldn't have to deal with irritability personified again. But this morning I went back to the bank for the first time in a while, and I came and I was in line, and I saw that this particular clerk was there, and I was waiting in line. And usually when I'm waiting in line, you know, I read or I, you know, make a shopping list or something, or I daven. But today I was so nervous. It was like I had like a post-traumatic thing. I didn't want to have to go to this woman again. So I was just praying the whole time, saying, Hashem, please, please, no, I don't want to have to go to that clerk. Please, 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 just not that clerk, not the clerk, not that clerk, please, please, please. So remember I was telling you last week that God can answer our prayers? So it works, it's true. I didn't have to go to her. I got to go to the very nice clerk next to her. But there was something very interesting this morning, that while I was at the clerk next to irritability personified, I realized that today she was very different. In fact, today she wasn't irritability personified. Today she was in a great mood. She was laughing and she was joking around, and she was joking around with the person, like with the customer she was helping, and she was very, very happy because Beitar Yerushalayim, the Jerusalem soccer team, had just won the championships apparently, and she was just in the greatest mood. And I realized, you know, that when I walked into the bank that morning, and I'd seen her, I felt like the bank had this scary sort of gray, tinged with black sort of atmosphere about it. But when I saw that this particular clerk was in such a great mood and she was joking around and happy, like the whole bank felt bright yellow tinged with orange. A wonderful place to be. When I was walking home today from the bank, I was looking at all the different, I passed a bunch of apartment buildings on the way, apartment buildings filled with, let's say, 10 or 15 families each. And I sort of stood for a moment. I looked at each apartment building, and I was just thinking that each of those apartments, each mother in those homes, each mother in those apartments is like that clerk in that bank. That the mother totally sets the tone of the home. If the mother, she's the akeret habayit, she's like the essence of the house. If the mother is irritable and irritability personified, then the house will be irritable and on edge, and everybody in the house will be suffering. If the mother's in a great mood and thriving and feeling good and happy, then the whole house will thrive. A few years ago, I heard from a very smart husband who'd been married for many years. He said, I think my husband asked him what was his secret to a happy marriage. And he said, I'll tell you my secret. My secret is that a happy wife is a happy life. He said, I keep my wife happy because I know if she's happy, everybody's happy. And, you know, for the purposes of this, speaking with you mothers, I think we can also say that, just as correctly, that a happy mom is a happy home. A happy mom is a happy home. A few days ago, I was speaking with Rebbitzin Ahava Winston. She's a Rebbitzin from Telstone near Jerusalem, and she was saying that the major avodah, the major spiritual work of women of this generation, of women of now, is to work on being b'simcha, and work at being happy in our lives. And it's the greatest challenge that we face for some reason in this generation, being happy in our lives. So I think that a slogan that every single mother should keep in mind, it's a bit of a strange source for the slogan, it's from Alcoholics Anonymous. I'm going to read it to you. God grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, courage to change the things we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Because as mothers, we really have to have a lot of serenity to accept the things that we cannot change. Because there are many difficult things that we really cannot change. We can't change the 3 a.m. feedings. This last morning I had a 3 a.m. feeding and it wasn't easy. I can't change it though. My baby needs me. I couldn't change the dirty diaper I had to change this morning. Someone's got to change it and it's going to be me. You can't change the mess that small children make and the fact that I'm the one who has to clean it up. But there are things that I can change. There are things that I can do to make my life easier. A few months ago, I was having a bit of a crisis. It was in the winter, and it was sort of the whole world seemed sort of gray. And being in the house with the kids, everything seemed so stressful and overwhelming. The mornings, the morning rush, getting everyone out of the house, just seemed so difficult and stressful. And putting everyone to bed just seemed so overwhelming and impossible. I was just thinking at that time, how can I do it? How can I even do one more day? Like, I just don't have the energy, the strength to do this. So I did something very important. I decided that I thought of the slogan. I thought serenity to accept the things that we cannot change and the courage to change the things we can. The courage to change the things that we can. I made a list of 10 things that I could change. 10 things that I needed to be a happy mother, to be thriving, so that I could be a happy mom and a happy home. Just to give you examples of what I chose back then, I don't remember everything I chose, but I wrote down that I needed to go once a week on an Eema date. Once a week for 1 or 2 hours, I'm going without a baby, without any kids, that I'm going to go all on my own on a walk, to a cafe, to do whatever I want, to a museum, time on my own, for me. Another thing that I wanted was Passover was going to be coming up in a few months, and I decided that I needed more cleaning help. That I wanted 1 more time a week, some help in the house, so that everything wouldn't be stressing me out and falling on me. Another thing was that at the time my baby was 9 months old, and he was sleeping very little in the mornings, and I was finding it very hard to get writing or other work done. So I decided that I needed babysitting help in the morning. I started sending him out to a babysitter in the mornings for a few hours. And I cannot even tell you just what a different person I was. Within several days of doing this, of implementing these 10 things, what a more relaxed, what a happier person, and how much more energy and strength and enthusiasm I had when my kids walked through the door at 1:30 in the afternoon, how much more koach and energy I had for them. So really, I think I'm going to say it now 3 times. It's just, if there's one thing that you remember after watching this video, if there's one thing that sticks in your mind, it is this phrase. The courage to change the things we can. The courage to change the things we can. The courage to change the things we can. There are things that we cannot change, and there are things that we can change as mothers, and things that are bringing us down and making life difficult and making it so that we're irritability personified. But that's not what we want. We can change things. We can change things in our lives. And I recommend that every mother, I do it, once every, maybe twice a year, or once a year. I make a list of these 10 things that I need. And maybe if a mother's having a hard time, maybe she should do it, once a month. In extreme situations, maybe once a week. The 10 things that she needs to pull herself out of what she's going through and to be a happy, thriving mother. Even a mother who feels good. It can do something to really bring an extra bit of simcha, an extra bit of happiness to her life. What she needs to be happier, what she needs to be feeling better and more thriving. So I wanted to bless all of us out here, all of you listening to this. First of all, with the Chag Sameach, Shavuot is coming up on Sunday night. That's very, very exciting. I wanted to bless all of us that all of our homes should not be scary homes with a gray tinge with black. All of our homes should be yellow homes tinged with orange. That all of us should be happy moms in happy homes. Chag Sameach.
אם נתת לי טוב, תן לי לשיר אותו לעולם. תן לי לשיר אותו לעולם.